the Italian Football Podcast.
Let's talk about Kyle Walker. So that deal is almost certainly going to be done now. He's Kyle Walker from Manchester City. He asked to leave City just over a week ago, and he has agreed terms with Milan. Milan and Manchester City are now in pretty much advanced talks over how the deal is going to be done. Is it going to be a loan? 6-month loan with an obligation to buy or an option to buy. But it's a deal it's going to be done. Kyle Walker is going to join Milan. And it's an interesting one, really, for Milan because they do need defenders, as we've discussed in this show. They need defenders. But is he the right man? I mean, he's had a bad season. Obviously, look, legendary player for me in the last decade. He's been consistently one of the best right backs in world football. One of the fastest defenders in the game. One of the few players that takes out Kylian Mbappe every time he plays against him. He's been a fantastic player from a defensive point of view. Been a fantastic player. But this season, he's been a bit of a disaster. He's looked like he started to show his age. I know a lot of the Man City players have been in the same boat there, and it's not just him, but he really has struggled. In fact, even earlier back in 2024, like he didn't have a very good Euros. He struggled at the Euros as well, and he even finding himself out of position, and he's never been the best going forward. So the question is, are Milan signing a player that's really past his best or way past his best even based on this season's performance? Or are they signing someone who, will still be able to do it in Serie A and is going to bring the experience and tighten up that Milan defence that really needs tightening up? What do you think, Nima?
I mean, again, Calabria. Okay, Emerson Royal has been all right defensively. Calabria is just not good enough. I think we know that. And you're bringing in Kyle Walker with a big question mark around him again. Look, it's again, I don't know what to make of it. I really don't know what to make of it because it's not an ideal situation, and I feel that Milan are taking unnecessary financial risks here instead of actually correctly addressing the problem. But then again, you can say, well, okay, someone like Kyle Walker, he brings experience. He's a fighter. He's very mentally strong. He's a winner. He knows what it takes to win the biggest trophies at club level football, and that's the kind of mentality you need in the dressing room.
He has the right mentality, yeah. Like he wants to defend, like what we were saying. Like Milan defenders don't want to defend; they don't like defending. He likes to defend, and he actually, he stopping tackling a defender, like he lives for that. Stopping a player going past him. He wants to defend. Players like Theo don't want to defend. The interesting thing for me is kind of where will Kyle Walker play, because I've seen a lot of suggestions that they're actually not signing him as a right back. They're signing him as a centre back.
Fine by me. Fine by me.
Which is, interesting because, when he has played as a centre back, it's always been the right side of a back three. I can't remember him playing in a back four, unless someone can correct me that's listening. I don't remember him ever playing in a back four. I always remember.
You know what I think it is? I think they're going to play him as a right, like they can play him. I think Milan are going to invert in the sense that Theo. I think Conceicao understands that Theo's strength lay in attack, so you need someone who's quick enough to play as a right back in a back three when they invert, if you know what I mean, so that they become a back three when in possession.
Which means his starting role is but that means but maybe that could be it. But that mean his starting role is as a right back, and that means Emerson, goodbye, you're out of the team. So
send your thoughts to Moncada. Again, or Moncada.
I think if they buy him in as a right back, then Calabria has to go. Like Calabria goes in January. He goes before the end of the window. If you sign him as a centre back, then again, that if they're planning to sign him as a centre back, then that raises questions over whether they still want to sell Tomori. I know that Milan or Conceicao doesn't want him gone, but if they're signing him as a centre back, so there's a lot of strands to this. It's going to be interesting to see what their plans are with Kyle Walker. I can tell you, Kyle Walker wants to leave England for my understanding is also for been very highly publicised, his private life and all the stuff that's been going on. Pretty
Okay, I have
messy.
no idea about that.
Okay, well, probably best to keep it that way because it's very messy between.
What is it like? We're talking Kardashian drama.
So probably worse, actually.
That is impossible.
The English
Thank you.
Kardashians.
Excuse me. That is impossible.
Yeah, in fact, and seeing how much you love the Kardashians.
Has his ex-wife gone out and said that Kyle Walker took sex videos of her and is threatening to spread them?
But he's got. I want to get this right. He's definitely got at least one kid with a mistress.
Wanda has how many children with how many men? I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
Nima gets very defensive when anybody tries to say that there's more drama than he.
I'm sorry, but when she went out on Argentinian TV and said that Mauro Icardi has 200 sex videos of me and is sending them around to his friends, I didn't know. I thought I was daydreaming.
Okay, it's not that bad, but it's pretty messy. But anyway, I think he wants to leave England just to, get away from all this what is going on basically.
And in Italy is a right place to go to as well because they don't give a shit about your personal life unless you're
Wanda Icardi.
Yeah. Well, unless you have children with. Well, unless you're that, whatever that is, whatever that relationship is, if you don't do that, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think also he's at the point of his career where he's played in England his whole life. It's not, you players want to try new things, It's there's worst fates in the world than to live in Milan and play for one of Inter and Milan. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you're literally a superstar and you live in one of the coolest cities in the world.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I think Champions League, it could be useful. Bringing in someone with that experience will help probably in the Champions League. But for Serie A, getting the top four, a lot will depend on how they use him, what their plans are for him, and also who else they bring in, Milan and Juventus, to decide kind of who will finish ahead of ahead of the other team out of Juventus and Milan, and that might not even be enough because there's Lazio.